All right, so we're continuing to mock it up. We're here for another Maniacs mock. Let's get this rolling. And welcome back to another video here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg, and this channel is dedicated to the Washington Commanders. And if you're down with that, please make sure you have subscribed to this channel. And when you have, also make sure you have hit that notification bell so you will be notified when we come out with videos. Speaking of that, we try to come out with the videos around 6:30 in the evening, although occasionally videos will come out during the day. Sometimes we'll do live streams in the morning. So that's why it's important for you to make sure you have that notification bell checked so you will know when we come out with the videos. With that said, folks, let's get into this video. So we've been doing some videos here recently about mocks, and I know that the season is almost over, so it's probably never too early, especially when your team is completely eliminated from playoffs. Even before we get into the playoffs, it's always good to go ahead and start talking about the draft, especially when your team right now is holding on to the third draft pick of the 2024 NFL draft. And so, of course, my draft has changed because of recent events, namely due to the poor quarterback play of Sam Howell. Now, I've been a staunch supporter of Sam Howell, as well as my buddy Brandon on here. Both of us have felt that Sam Howell has been the undisputed starter for this team, and we felt like that he has earned that spot for years to come. But up until recently, I have kind of started feeling like, things have kind of caught up with Sam Howell, and he's taken a nosedive at the wrong time. I felt like if things were reversed and he started out really rough, but then started getting things better, then I think that people would really have a different attitude about Sam Howell. But the thing is, it's been the reverse. Sam Howell actually started off really good last year. That game against the Cowboys at the end of the season, really played pretty well throughout the preseason and then into the regular season. And the only knock on him, well, two knocks on him. One, taking a lot of sacks, holding on to the ball. And then after a few games, it seemed like Eric Bieniemy changed things up, got the ball out of his hands a lot quicker, and then he started taking less sacks. And so we felt like, wow, suddenly those were the two biggest things that really were knocks on Sam Howell. And suddenly he was having even better games, and we felt like Sam Howell is still going to be the guy. But we started seeing production of the offense started going downhill. The team is not scoring 30-some points per ball game. Suddenly, they're scoring 20 and then 17, and pretty soon you're seeing this team struggling to score anything, it seemed like. And then Sam just struggling, throwing interceptions. That's where I arrived at this point, and getting benched twice in a row, 2 weeks in a row, and then have Brissett coming off the bench and basically playing lights out. It just really was not a good look for Sam Howell. So for me, although I still have a lot of faith in Sam Howell, I think it just really, it's kind of a sad situation where I'm kind of a realist as well, and I realize that with a new regime coming in, they're probably not going to give Sam Howell a look as far as a starter. That will definitely keep him on the team and hopefully be able to work with him to get him prepped and ready, because there's no guarantee. I mean, drafting a quarterback, I don't care if it's first round, seventh round, it's crapshoot. And just because you draft guys in the first round doesn't mean that it really works out. And that's the thing that you have to keep in mind, folks, is that there have been a lot of great quarterbacks and quarterbacks who have taken their team to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl who were not first-round draft picks. And yes, there have been some first-round draft picks who have won the Super Bowl, but there have been I won't say just as many, but there have been quite a few who have won the Super Bowl who were not first-round draft picks. There have been the GOAT, who was, a sixth-round, seventh-round draft pick? So let's keep that in mind. It's a crapshoot. And while some folks will say you've got a better chance at landing a franchise quarterback in the first round than you do the seventh round, we'd like to think that's usually true, but have we really seen that? Because there's been a huge long list. There's been a longer list of first-round busts than there has been of first-rounders that have succeeded. So let's just keep that in mind. That said, yeah, I'm going to show you my draft that I did. This was yesterday that I did this. So this is definitely different from the mock draft that I did last week. But here it goes, folks. Yep. Oh, yes. Greg did it. So in the first round, I'm telling you, at number 3, you can't pass up a quarterback. Although I've been vehemently against the idea of drafting a quarterback because we need that all-pro left tackle. And, yeah, I realize they're not going to be all-pro just coming out of college, but, that we need that sure thing left tackle who's going to be just that next Trent Williams. But the thing is, we need that quarterback as well, and you can't pass up a quarterback when you're picking at 3. When you're picking at 5, there's going to be less likely of a chance at one of these quarterbacks dropping to you. But at 3, there's a highly, highly likely chance either Drake May or Caleb Williams winds up dropping to 3 because, Justin Fields has played pretty well for Chicago. I don't think Chicago's taking a quarterback. And even if they do, I think Drake May is still going to be on the board. Because I just think that I think the Arizona is still married to Kyler Murray. So I really think that there's a chance that one of those quarterbacks, maybe both of those quarterbacks are still on the board. And so then it's like, which one do you think is going to have the highest upside to them? So in my mock draft, Williams was already off the board. So Drake May was my choice at number 3. Another North Carolina quarterback, this time a number 1 or first round pick. So that would be kind of interesting having Sam Howell and Drake May on the same team, both former UNC quarterbacks. But it could be good, possibly a good thing. But then again, in the second round, I of course went offensive tackle Kingsley Sumatea out of BYU. 50, Jatavion Sanders, a tight end, because I'm telling you, we're going to need tight end help. I don't know what's happened with Cole Turner. It's been such a big mystery to me, but who knows? Maybe the next regime comes in and they're like, wait a minute, we've got a good talent in this Cole Turner. We're gonna revamp his career here. So, but I think you still need tight end help. So we're gonna go tight end at 50. At 67, because 50 was a trade down to pick up extra draft picks. We're going with Jalen Ford, linebacker, because we need linebackers. And it wasn't a reach. Basically, linebacker was right there for me, so I picked Jalen Ford out of Texas. And in 96, I went safety help. I went James Williams. Now, of course, we have Butler and we have Cameron Curl, but just in case, the fact that, of course, we have Derek Forrest as well, and Reeves, who is really more of a special teamer, but just in case that we wind up not re-signing Curl, we are going to need a safety. Now, I will need to actually go in, and what I will do after the season, I'll actually start doing a little bit more research on these guys, because it's awful easy to just go in and pick mock drafts. And the thing is, when you go into like offensive tackles and things like that, unless you've really heard a lot from them, you don't always know if they're left tackles or right tackles, and you don't know if they're able to play both sides or not. You may have someone who is strictly a right tackle that would not survive at left tackle. And then same with safety. Are they a strong safety? Or anything like that. So it's a little bit more detailed. You don't just draft. We need a linebacker. Okay, can they play the mic, or are they more of an outside linebacker? So it's things like that. But regardless, at 100, I picked Bucky Irving, running back. He was the top pick there at 100. Because guess what? I mean, while we do look like we're going to have a pretty good backfield with Robinson, with Chris Rodriguez, not quite sure what about Antonio Gibson, if we're going to re-sign him or not, but still, Bucky Irving could be another guy who comes in to have some competition there in the backfield. Offensive guard, yes, I went offensive line heavy in this draft. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College, and then rounding out the seventh round, I went Roger Rosengarten at offensive tackle out of Washington. And then, with the trade with Houston, we picked up Houston's second pick in 2024. So that is pretty much the second mock draft that the Maniacs have done for this season. And we will do many, many more, and we will probably get a little bit better with this as we kind of start to dissect and review a little bit more of these guys, and we start to pay attention more to the combine and all of that stuff once the season, playoff, Super Bowl, all that's over with. Because really want to bring to you a little bit more in-depth and informed decisions and all this stuff, and what we think that the team what direction they may go into. But yes, if you talked to me just a few days ago, this draft would have looked much different. I would have definitely went with left tackle there, Alt, or the other guy there at left tackle in the first pick, because at that point I think we were picking fourth or fifth, and I don't think that either one of those quarterbacks are dropping past the third. So I would pick left tackle, and then in the second I would have picked a quarterback. So I think the point is I still would have picked a quarterback, because I just don't think that, regardless of how Sam Howell played this year, it doesn't always mean that the new regime is going to be just as happy with the quarterback that's on the team. Although that could be one of the, I guess, attractions to a new coaching regime coming in, saying, hey, we've got a good young up-and-coming quarterback that you can work with to develop. But regardless of that, they may look at that and be like, well, we may be able to use him, but eventually we're going to want our own guy. So I think regardless, you would still draft quarterback. It would just depend on which round. And this may change. I may decide in my next mock draft that I go back to picking a quarterback in the second round and going back to left tackle in the first round. Because, again, I just feel that a lot of times you can hit on a quarterback in the second round, in the third round. And I don't think that the talent level drops that much because I think a lot of times I think the talent evaluation is so horrible when it comes to quarterbacks that they get it wrong way too much. We've seen it way too much. I mean, look at there's so many different examples. I mean, we'd go back in time to, was it 1994 when we drafted Heath Schuler. We drafted him third. And Heath Schuler was supposed to have been the next franchise quarterback for the Redskins. I remember Pat Summerall saying that get used to hearing this, Schuler to Westbrook. And, we're going to be saying this for the next several years. And it just never panned out. Schuler was just terrible. And he did not last very long. I think he went to New Orleans for a little bit and played for Mike Ditka for just a short while. But he did not last long in the NFL at all. Just Trey Lance, a more recent example, who was drafted high by San Francisco, was supposed to be the next franchise quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And, they went with Mr. Irrelevant, who right now had a very bad game against the Ravens, but has overall played really well and has been leading San Francisco deep into the playoffs and will likely lead them probably deep into the playoffs again this year, if not the Super Bowl. And they wound up trading Lance to the Cowboys to be a backup there. So that's why I say it's a crapshoot. And you can't just look at, first round quarterbacks and say you need one of those guys, because it does not necessarily guarantee you a franchise quarterback. So keep that in mind. Anyway, folks, hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this mock draft, and I will see you in the next one.